back again. I still can't remember what I was gonna, what I've forgotten the other ones, but it'll come back to me. In the last video, what brought back up, we were talking about John and Peter and who they really are, okay? It's, you can look at the story of Joseph and the story of Moses, and that tells you. Moses was in the beginning, and the whole story of him coming down the Nile, you know, and what was the Nile? What did the Nile mean? You know, just like the River Jordan, you have to look and see what the meanings are of those two rivers. But Moses, okay, he was a prince at first. I mean, what he remembers, right? First, he was a prince, and he was a conqueror. Okay, I mean, he blindly followed his earthly father, the father he knew, Pharaoh, you know, who he looked to as a father. That, and Pharaoh favored him above his own son. Correct? Yes. And Moses blindly followed his orders. He was happy to do it. Whatever his earthly father, okay, that's how he looked at him, wanted or asked him to do, he did it without hesitation. Right? Yeah, he did. So this is how you have to look at all of this. Okay? I mean, but Moses he was a good guy, right? I mean, he was a prince, and he had, and Ramses, his brother, was his not real brother, but his brother. He was always jealous of him. Okay? And remember, Ramses always saying, well, you know, when Moses came to turn the water to blood, again, looking back, on your hindsight, you see blood cleanses. He was trying to cleanse that. I mean, that, even though then it wasn't seen, but that now is, we can see that's what the message was. But Ramses would be like, I come to bless the waters of life, okay? Because, and you come to curse them, okay? There's always that double meaning, okay? Um, we're that's what Ramses thought he was doing, was um, blessing them, okay? M Moses, the woman, that the queen, again, this queen, again, it has to go like the queen, you know, you have to put the queens together and see how they all coordinate together, okay? But but it she whoever became Pharaoh married her. And because it's noted all through that, you know, that she was Egypt. Okay? Nefertiti was Egypt. Who was she? Who was she? Who's that female? And what did she call the Pharaoh? You know, the old crocodile. She called him an old crocodile. The Egyptians were different. They were different. They were different. Is this why when they built the statues and the city so big, the giants there, were they that is that where all that comes from? I don't know that, because it's not really an important thing to me, okay, to get into. But you can't help but notice um, the making of this and what the story of Moses represents. Okay, it shows the story, and so does Joseph. It shows both sides. It shows both sides of one man, both sides of one brother, both sides being two. Okay, one being playing two different roles. You know, being split. It's the rock being split, and the rock. When Moses split that rock in the desert, and so you had the people being watered by two different stones. There is right there. Boom, doom, Now you got water flowing from two stones. Okay, so that could mean two different sites, two different visions, you know, of seeing two different beliefs, two different whatever, two different rocks, two different suns. Okay, one, and how to how people can be divided into two separate groups and seeing drinking the same water, but it being uh, um, but flowing two different ways. You know what I mean? Um, Giving them two different nourishments. Okay, but then again, you can look at it as okay. One water brings in two groups. One waters two groups that that both of them, you know, um, are the one. Okay, both of them um, feed the one source. This is the two I was talking about. Okay, so it's all of him. It's just the split form. Okay, it's the two. And in the Bible, it comes out as two, as different ones, but it's him playing. It's the one taking care of both roles. Moses shows you that, okay, and Joseph shows you that, okay. The two different roles that the one played. That's it. That's it. Okay. That's, and so this is how you have to look. Everything is seen two different ways. Okay. You have man seeing it. You have it from a man's, you know, and who is man? I don't know who man is. Okay, because man is not man as we know it. We know that the difference in the animals and all that, and the birds, it's different. Man isn't. I mean, we know who we call man now, but when man first started out, and who the Bible talks about as man, not who we see it as. But it's a whole nother thing. So. It's the two will be the one. You know, it's the split rock, it's the split, it's the two becoming one, it's the husband and the wife, it's the marriage. Okay, it is the division of sin, it is the double-minded man. It is what all that is, and that's what all that represents. That's what the splitting of the Mount of Olives, that's the representation of him having one foot on land, one foot on sea. Okay, it's the division of the waters. Okay, between the sky and the, you know, the land. Okay, it's the dividing the dry ground from the waters. It's the it's all of that, and it's all of that. So it's the good and the bad. It can, in one look, it's good. Some other, it's bad, but he hones it all in. He makes it work. It's bringing it all in. It's bringing the throne and the priesthood. Okay, because that's what it is. One controls the throne. One controls the priesthood. But all of them are, all of the, and again in Peter, okay, in Peter, when he's talking about the Last Supper, he's talking about the disciples all wondering who the deceiver was, okay, and they each are going through thinking, they're really telling who they are, okay, they're telling which of the seven they are, okay, by their thoughts and their mind and what they're saying. They are the description and the questions they have, okay, tells us who they are, which church they are, okay, which of the candlesticks they are, which of the seals they are, which angel they are, which Christ they are. Okay, where in the order of the menorah, because that's what it is, the menorah, which one is which, okay, is by what they say. Asking themselves if they are the deceiver, if they are the traitor. Stop. So, it's so good, it's so good, it's so good. That's what that means. Stop it. That's what that means. Listen to him. Don't sass me. Don't sass me. So, I got enough sass going on. Stop sassing me. So, stop. Stop it. No. So, anyway, I hope that you can see this. He has to allow it. But it is so good. It is so good. Listen to what they're saying. Because I'm telling you, and Peter is telling who everybody is. Telling who everybody is. So, stop it. Stop it. Now. Oh my God. I'm battling the dog. Throws up all over because eats too much or whatever, and gets back and gets in the trash, and then it's always throwing up, and I'm trying to run it outside, and I got those mice that are making me insane. But I'm gonna make that DIY your own mouse trap things that they get on. I researched it all last night. I'm gonna make them tonight. Do it. Really? Stop. Okay, the healings, okay, it's like, it shows the forgiveness of the harlot, okay? It shows the daughter of Babylon being forgiven. I mean, all the healings that start in the Gospels and in the Acts, it shows what it is it's the healings that are done from the curses, in the judgments in the Old Testament. Okay, that's what it is. It is, look and see when the Roman soldier, who's on his horse, and it was a son or his daughter was dying, and he said, please, he rode out to where Jesus was, and he said, my child is sick, please, blah blah blah, and as he was riding, and he said, go home, your child will live. Well, as he was riding home, and his servant met him halfway, the soldier, and he said, your child lives. And he asked him, what time did they get better? And they said, yesterday at whatever time it was. I can't remember if it was noon or it was 1 o'clock, or pay attention to that time, because that time, all the times in the Bible, okay, pay attention to what happened then, because that is the time that you'll watch now, because that is a time, that time of day is when an event, a healing or an event like that will occur again at that time. It doesn't waver. It doesn't waver. Okay? It doesn't. So, you just have, we're not the only ones. Okay? I mean, there's the people of the whole world. Okay? People of the whole world. We are so judgmental. We are so blind to this. I'm not saying the new age or anything like that, but there's just stuff that we don't understand. And we are just so consumed with, we think we're just that it. If he is truly who we know he is, he's going to work that. Okay, he's going to work that. So we don't understand it, but he's going to work it. It's all right there in the Bible. But see, again, man can't even think of these things that I'm talking about because they're stuck on what's going on in the earthly world from man, what they're telling them, all that fear and warning and all that, and blah, blah, blah. The resurrection, okay? When, I know in a couple videos ago, and more than that, because I talked about it in a few, that I knew something happened, okay, from when he was baptized, going out to the desert, but I knew when he died. Remember, I was talking about him being on the cross, and there is a reason why you had a repentant thief, a redeemed thief, unrepentant thief, and what happened to the thief on the? He was on the right side of Jesus too, wasn't he? Wasn't on the left. I mean, to Jesus, he was on Jesus' left, and the unforgiven, the unrepented thief was on his right. The right is always that righteous side. That bird pecked his eyes out. You know what that represents? Again, the right side. That unrepented thief, okay, had to have his eyes plucked out, okay, by the bird. What was it? A crow? Was it a raven? It was a black bird, wasn't it? See? That it had to be blinded in order to have its sight. It went crippled, okay? When he died, he went in crippled. He had to have his eyes gouged out. He had to be blinded, okay, in order to be able to receive sight, in order to be able to be healed later on through death, but he had to be able to, his eyes had to be gouged out, okay, because he was crippled. He couldn't see right. He wasn't blind. He was just leading the wrong way. He was a thief. He was stealing the seeds. That thief was stealing because he was on the right side, the righteous side, the church side, whatever side. So he was stealing the seeds that the birds were laying out, okay, the seeds that were being laid out, and the birds pecking his eyes out. I mean, it says that the birds, eat them, okay, but see, he was a seed stealer. He was on the righteous side, on a church side, the word side somewhere, but he was a thief. He was stealing the seeds, okay? He was stealing the food. And in order for him to be redeemed, the birds came and pecked his eyes out, crippled him. So, because that's why Jesus says, "Come to me crippled. I can work with that." Again, hot or cold, but don't be lukewarm. See, when you're cold, he can put that fire. See the cold? Cold, go in the fire, because real quick, but it's fast, right? It's fast, because that cold gets heated up very quickly from that fire. Okay, that's why he says, "Come hot or cold, don't come lukewarm." What am I supposed to do if you're lukewarm? Come to me as a crippled, because I can heal you as a crippled. That's what all that means. So, but the representation of those three on the cross, okay? But I knew something different happened. Again, you knew there was two here because of it's the scapegoat. It's the sacrificial goat and the scapegoat, okay? So we're dealing with both. So because of him going 40 days into the desert and then him dying on the cross, as a sacrifice, there's your two goats. But on the, again, on the cross, he's in one breath he's saying, he's praying for him in his heavenly language, but he's saying, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. So here he is as the Son of God, and that shows because as the Son of God, he is praying and asking forgiveness for them. Okay? But as the Son of Man, he's saying, because when you are in the Spirit and of the Spirit, you have that understanding. You have that prayer, and you pray and you ask for forgiveness for them. You have that sight, okay? But when you're born of the flesh, right, and as the Son of Man, he his words are saying, Father, Father, why have you forsaken me? Asking, why are you doing this to me? Because that is what man, somebody of the flesh, would say. They would feel, that why are you forsaking me? See, that's my point. There's the two, okay? When he looked at John and his mother there, something happened. Something happened. The Spirit, something. The Spirit, the Son of God, the Spirit, okay, the Holy Spirit, it departed, right? Okay. Was it to John? Because John, remember, or did it go up? But then the other half of him, the other spirit that's representing man, the Son of Man, okay, which would be the left side, the other brother that everybody thinks is bad. But I mean, that's the only way I know how to describe it to everybody, because I don't think that, but I mean, because I understand it somewhat now, okay? So, but in a worldview, that's the only way I know how to put it out there. But see, something happened to John by him saying that, okay? And by the remark of he made early on. So what is it to you if I keep him alive until I come back? Again, that just wasn't said, okay? So something happened there. He now, did John have that Son of Man spirit in him? Mother, this is your son. Son, this is your mother. There's a reason that was said. Then what makes you know is when John was in exile in Patmos, writing under the name of Theophilus, okay? And it was known as the pits, okay? See, there is a there, okay? Something, it's just not as it is. There's something there, okay? And it has to do with the pits. It has to do with the prison. It has to do with the prisoners, and John was trying to release them. And it wasn't there a big breakout at the end of that, where many escaped? See, that's what all that represents. He had to go there to release those prisoners. And that's when he was writing the Revelation. So that's what all that means. So, that was a couple months ago. I know everybody just went, I can't believe you said that. But you knew that by the two different ways that those praying and then why have you forsaken me? There was something, okay? Difference here. Okay? So, Peter, we know Peter because and he said he couldn't be crucified because he didn't deserve the same death, as Jesus. I mean, it was like, oh, I can't, not that he was better, meaning he was lower, he couldn't dare have that be killed like him. And that's why he was upside down. See, it's that other whatever. He's got to figure out which one is what. And it goes, but it's really one. It's two, but it's one. Okay? And sometimes the one that we think, you know, we don't know which one is which sometimes. Although we think we do, sometimes we don't. Because look at Joseph. Okay? Look at Joseph. Look at the son, prodigal son. The oldest brother who stayed there faithfully, right? Did, right, minded his father, obeyed his father, worked for his father, did everything he should do, did everything right. He was like, what? I did everything right, and he's getting all this stuff, and what? Why? Why? He said, because he was dead, and now he's alive. So, who was dead on the cross? See, that's the brother that died, and now he's alive. That's your story of the father and the two, okay? That's the story of it. It's just layers and layers and layers and layers and layers. So, it's all like this. Paul, same way. Paul, same way. Okay? And again, I didn't know why, but 4 months ago, I wake up, because all night long I get taught, but I wake up with, first thing out of my mouth was, Paul's father was a tent maker. What? Paul's father was a tent maker. Because he was part Roman and part Jewish. Okay? So who makes the tents, right? A tent is also a covering. It's a desert covering, but it's a temporary dwelling place. It is a tent is also, our tents expand, okay? It's a temporary place for the ark, all right? It's all these things, okay? It's all these things. So, there was one more on there with that. One more, if I could just remember it. I think, okay, in the tomb, the empty tomb, when they went in the tomb, that's why, I mean, his dressings, his linen dressings were there, but there's two angels, one at the foot and one at the head. Okay, again, those represented the two. That's what those represented. Those, it's just what they did. So, again, he was washing Peter's feet, and he said, you cannot stand in me, unless I wash your feet. You cannot dwell in me. You cannot dwell in me. See, you gotta look at this, the whole spirit. That's what I see as angels. The angels. He was going to be standing on holy ground. He was going to be with him. So to dwell in me, your feet have to be clean. There's many meanings there. The feet is also that army. And what is one of the main bones in the foot is the tarsus bone. But that's what all these were. Just in the supper alone is huge. Okay. Again, the blood at the Nile. Okay, it was really cleansing it. All that. The blood red moon. See. Yes, there's actual blood red. Those blood red moons are all, I told you, that's exactly what they are. They're bookmarks. Start to bookmarks, okay? Timing. It tells you, and it does. That whole thing is the end of the Lamech, 77-fold and all that. It is. But the blood red moon, what the Bible says is when the sun turns to darkness, okay? And the moon to blood. Okay, well, I think that the eclipse, see those eclipses? When the sun and the moon go either in front of each other or behind each other, I don't know which is which. It's a switch. It's a switch. Okay? The sun turning to darkness had to do with the sun turning to darkness. Okay? The sun, as everyone sees, the sun, it's the dark. It goes in the dark. I don't. I mean, yes, it very well may be turned to darkness because of the eclipse, but it's to the world when the sun is dark, when the Son of God, who they think the Son of God is shows as dark. Okay, but because people just don't understand it, and the moon is turned to blood. See, the darkness, night is it. It's the moon because the moon rules the night, right? So when the moon turns to blood, that means the blood cleanses the moon, cleanses the waters, just like the blood on the Nile. The Nile turning to blood is the same as the moon turning to blood. Okay, because that is the, you know, the luminary that rules. That is the ruler of the waters. That is the rulers of the night. Again, the waters are again angelic. It's an army, and it's the darkness. And so the the blood moon has to do with the exact same as the Nile turning to blood. They're cleansed, just like the fire, just like all of it. That's what it is. So um, things are not going to play out like everybody thinks. Not. The eclipses brought in change, but they brought in one one coming. One of them, you either had one of them was uh, it was a switch, like in who was ruling. Okay, the night or the day. And again, the 3 days of darkness. See, because I think that the switch, and I think there was something between David and Solomon. There's a key right there. I don't even have time to talk about that, but there was that. Um, it's 3,000 years of darkness. It's 300 years. You know what I mean? It's three years. It's 3 days. It's of darkness, meaning the kingdom, the leadership, the sun turning to darkness. Okay, are the moon turning to blood. This is it's when the it's when the night rules, is the ruler, is the king, is the that's what that means. It's when he's on the throne. It's when the darkness, the night is on the throne. Okay, that's what that 3 days of darkness is. Okay, it is same as you have that. But then Jonah in the belly of the whale, okay, is same thing, same thing. But he's in the whale. Okay, he's in the waters. He's in the sea. He's in the fish. He's he has to reconcile because he didn't want to do what God wanted him to do, and that was go to Nineveh and preach, right, and tell the people something, and he didn't want to do it. So he had to go into the belly of the whale. Okay, well, again, the belly, we have the belly of the earth. Okay, so where Jesus went in for 3 days, and again, these two have to come together too. Okay, because it's the sun and the moon. I mean, it's the blood moon, and it's the sun turning to darkness, and that is the belly of the whale, and that is the okay. Gosh, I just want to do another one, but there's so much, so much. Love you. See you soon.